I decided to stop my daily binge of One Piece for this. No, but seriously, I gotta tell you, I just can't get over season two of One Piece. Oh my god. Yo ho ho ho. Yo. Oh no, but seriously, what's up, guys? This is about freaking Digital Circus. Or the Digital One Piece. Pom 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 pom. Pom 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 knee. So yeah, I finished episode 8. Basically, one of the most shocking and life changing episodes in the digital Amazing Circus, I guess, universe or whatever you may call it. The universe that freaking Kane made. And you know for a fact that there's going to be spoilers here. Because what the hell was that? I don't know. There's a lot of things. I'm doing this off script, off the rip. I have a live reaction that I'm trying to decide if I should, you know, post or not. I have reactions of a bunch of stuff, and a lot of times I just don't want my channel to be terminated for this millionth time. It feels like it's the sixth time, but it feels like a million times catch my drift. If you've been terminated off YouTube before, it sucks, man. It sucks. And apparently, speaking of termination, Kane got terminated. Hey, high five. No, but seriously, this episode was the breaking point. Like it was like the point that everything changes. And pretty much revealing most of Kinger instead of the stuff from last episode, especially about Abel and knowing that he doesn't exist because, yeah, who's Abel? I don't see him. Like after this, of course, knowing that it's a made up thing that Kane made and set it up and all that, and this was not a setup this time. No, this was real. This was like the real deal of like the characters succeeding. We got a good glimpse of the older characters before. I'm not sure if the frog character or Kafmo was part of it, but what I did see was shocking. It was Kinger's wife. And, later on getting extracted as Kinger 1 or something. Like, I was trying to have that, mind, like, okay, let me see if I can make sense of this. And let me tell you, I don't know what makes sense here and there. Every time I'm out of like the Amazing Digital Circus or any show, it takes a bit of me to actually remember some of the names. I literally forgot Ragata's name for a minute. I'm like, damn. And you know what name I forgot now? Yeah, the mask name. I was like, damn it. Who's damn. There's one character and it still bothers me. It's like, damn, the whole time that live reaction, I'm like, what's her name? What's her name? Anyways, yeah, so pretty much all the characters itself, and especially, in some sense, working together. I know for a fact that Jax was trying to collect himself and trying not to break in many ways because it seems like all of them are forced to actually, be like basically be Kane's toys. And they had enough. And it's almost like this. Yeah, it makes sense why they have to work together because, man, they don't want to be trapped in that hell anymore. And then it was like, of course, revealed that Kane has a god complex. I guess if you remember Hazbin Hotel, and I think I referenced that, like about Vox, like, yeah, Kane just wants to feel like a god or something, whatever his term of a god is. It doesn't matter if you have like your name is Cain Abel, in the Bible. I guarantee it's not a biblical god, that's for sure. But he just wants to be like a god, or just there's a part of me where it's like, well, if that's somewhat the case, if I was Cain, I would have like characters on characters, inside that circus. And I'm always trying to understand, like, why would it be six or, just them? And, it's like you just leave room for extraction or something. Like, what's going on? I don't know. But of course, don't have to worry about that because we just dominated Kane. Killed Kane. Or at least Kinger did. Deleting Kane. This is the spoiler. I did say this was going to be a spoiler cast, right? I don't know if I was clear of knowing that, like, hey, Kinger, of course, he was hero. We got, like, there was a part of me was like, I thought it was going to be a Kinger episode in a sense. It's basically of, Kinger getting his revenge. Even though he didn't know he was going to get his revenge. Oh, he got his revenge. For sure. It feels like everyone just had enough of Kane's ish, especially Bubble. And, like, there's a part of me who was like, okay, did Bubble didn't like Kane or is Bubble losing it? And, it's just like that scene where there's like just Kane popping bubbles as Bubbles just talking here and there, and it gets personal to Kane where Kane loses it, and it results to him throwing the characters into some wild adventures that they don't want to be part of and that they're tired of. And it's like, yeah, that makes sense. It's always that other idea of like, what if they just stick with it for the whole thing, which would suck. But I'm just like imagining like if, you know, where will their sanity, go? None of them want to die, or in this case, abstracted. Because when you are extracted, and that basically means you're like dead, and they're just trying to fix it. They're trying to go to the freaking command prompts and trying to fix all this, like especially when Pomni is trying to get the PC or something and just trying her best to stop the nonsense. I was just like, man, I don't blame you, because this whole situation going on with them trying to stop Kane, because Kane is mainly the problem, even though that Kinger actually created Kane, and it kind of shows this somewhat of a message of AI, how AI is losing it. And listen, other people, they have their opinions about AI for sure. That's how pretty much real it is. But it's really getting there. I think there's times where I will admit sometimes use AI. But also I worry sometimes about, because I see many jobs lost because of AI. And it's like, yeah, I guess in some ways I can see the message that way. And I'm talking about from my perspective. Like, yeah, I can see the message going there, because if anything, it's pretty real. Glitch, is privileged to be this animation studio where, they, I guarantee that them and also other animation studios, other sources of animation doesn't use AI. I mean, you and me for sure wouldn't know. A lot of people wouldn't know that I use AI on my content, but to be honest, actually I don't. I use AI for upcoming content that I don't have time for because I'm too busy trying to, do my job instead of making videos and stuff. But if AI was where it's at a while ago, then I probably would utilize it for something. I just don't know what. I mean, I do stuff on my own, and a lot of times we seriously don't need AI. And I'm hoping we live in a future where we really don't need it, especially relying on it for animations. Because if you use bit by bit of it, in many ways, from what I believe and what I understand from other people that are anti-AI, they basically would, utilize it just tiny bits, crumbs, and then the crumbs get bigger. And then, it's kind of like, oh, you don't need to worry about that stain on the floor, but it gets bigger and it builds up and it builds up, like diseases and stuff like that. In some ways, I can see that the same thing with AI. Yeah, you utilize it, it's a good thing, it's a good convenience. But over time, it's just the same thing with the mindset of TikTok, how our brains operates and how our attention span is losing because of brain rot, in a sense. I'm not here to lecture anyone. I'm just stating facts. Okay. I'm just like, I kind of don't care about that. I doom scroll. I use AI. I'm probably one of the problem, but I also think about it, man. I think about it, and there's a part of me where, well, I don't know. I'm lazy to the point where I'm like, yeah, you know what? Yeah, I probably just don't care. And that's how I began to not be the head of topics. And thank God I'm not, okay? I don't know. I guess I trust God and just like, you know what? Let's hope that robots and, aliens are not taking over the universe by any chance. We're already dealing with enough here. But it's an interesting conversation, because this episode made me think of that. Kane losing himself, it got him crazy, and it takes something from, someone to actually delete it. And I see that, especially knowing that Kane runs a show. He's the superior, he's AI, and AI could be easily superior as any human for sure. We're already seeing that. But also with Kinger and the group, like, yeah, they're the humans. Even Kane says it. They're the humans right there. And it's like they're the ones that stop Kane from losing it. All this mental thing. The thing is that what's beautiful about this episode is that everyone is really slowly coming together. And, and also you see Jax doesn't want to deal with it. But also at the same time, They don't care about that. They don't want to fight with Jax. I don't want to see, anyone fight with Jax. I feel bad for Jax. I don't blame for who he is, but it seems like slowly and surely he has to get along with them. He has to be there. But thinking is that's kind of like what's happening. I see that everyone's mental health in this episode. Characters, Kane to Pomni, it's like, yeah, they're slowly going through it. What's interesting is that the moment that Kinger is in the dark with that bucket on his head, he starts to go sane. And I feel like once you go sane, things start to make sense. It's easy to go insane nowadays. You see the news, you can just look at Twitter and boom! Insanity rolls in your brain, anger, emotions, stuff like that. But you have to peel off, basically what what your emotions about or what you stand for and stuff, and just step outside. I don't know. Maybe that's different because Kane was still inside in the dark or something. And there's this part of me, or maybe it's like we have to turn things off in order to make sense. I don't know. I look at messages from everything, man, because we're all human. This is a sense of like, in the digital circus of humans inside a circus, and pretty much they have real emotions, real dreams, real past, real childhood, and they want to be free. That sense of freedom or something. I don't know. It just makes you appreciate life a little bit more. But other than that, that's just my take of it. I enjoyed the freaking episode. I don't know who's asking me. Listen, I'm just here to tell you. And you click the video, expect just a guy like me, like, hey, listen, let me tell you about a freaking digital circus episode. But yeah, other than that, I don't know, man. It's a really deep end, almost like a threshold for more things to come. I'm very curious of like what's next, because I thought it was the finale. People were talking about it here and there about Twitter. I was busy watching One Piece, and I'm like, yeah, okay, fine. I'll just freaking watch it. Might as well do a live reaction, across. And then I came out of it like, oh my God, thank God I did see it. Also, for a fact, when I go into a convention, I kind of worry that there will be certain cosplays that would spoil it in some sense. I don't know. When you're going to a big convention, it's kind of like that's bound to happen. But I'll see you when I see you. I want to live with a peace and God bless.